Tales of Mithrym.
At the Sign of the Running Horse, narrated by Dolynuik, Part 8, Intimidation. Cyrus had begun sweating as he shuffled through his mind for any idea of a way out. He knew that he must not show even the slightest hint of casting a spell. Elvin's left hand held his scabbard as his right hand gripped the sword hilt. Cyrus knew that in the blink of an eye, Elvin could draw that sword and make a deadly strike. Anger flashed in Elvin's eyes as he held Cyrus hard in his glare. Whatever Cyrus did, it would have to be well cloaked. He thought hard, adrenaline running through him and heightening his senses. There must be a spell he could use that would not require him to perform any physical movement. Not even speaking it out loud or whispering would work. What could he do? Elvin continued to eye the bartender sharply, watching him, prepared for anything. He smiled to see Cyrus's face caught in its still panic. But then, all of a sudden, in a single moment, it all shifted, and suddenly his stomach turned as he saw the man smile back at him. All distress in Cyrus's face had vanished. Elvin tightened his grip on the sword hilt. He wondered for a moment what to do. Cyrus was showing no sign of retaliation whatsoever. Instead, he stood quite still, like a stone statue. Then, suddenly again, light erupted from every part of Cyrus's body. It was as if the sun itself had come down into that tavern room. Elvin stood there, blinded, staring at the bright light as it filled his every perception, dumbfounded as to what was going on, looking wide-eyed at Cyrus. Loud shouts and sharp gasps erupted from the crowd behind. The noises echoed round the room as people scattered, throwing themselves behind doors and under tables. The light died down after a few moments. The whole room were left blinded, befuddled, and in a shaken state of panic, fearing that they were under attack. The music had stopped, and for a moment there was absolute silence. Elvin blinked several times, loosed his grip on his sword, and rubbed his eyes. It did not take long for his vision to return, but when it did, it was too late. In an instant, everyone there saw and understood as they all looked at the source of the bright light. As their vision returned, they could see that Cyrus was now holding Dervil like a shield with the sharp edge of his chopping knife pressed hard against her throat. Gasps and murmurings swept through the room, then everything fell quiet again, as the patrons quickly sensed the dreadful aura emanating menace. Only the warden captain understood the peril right away, as even her young companion, Boris, took his time to take in all that had just happened. Elvin gritted his teeth and scowled at the necromancer. Cyrus now wore an evil grin on his face, shedding the last of his pretense at innocence. "You vile scum," Elvin growled in a low voice. "I will kill you." His hand moved back towards his sword's hilt. "Hold it, Lord Ranley," Cyrus shouted, pressing the blade harder against Dervil's neck. "Or she will die like a slaughtered hen. I'm not bluffing. Let go of that weapon." Elvin bit his lip, fighting a desire to leap at Cyrus. Slowly, he removed his hand from the sword. "Push it over the counter." Elvin untied his sword belt, lifted the weapon slowly in its scabbard, and placed it on the bar. He pushed it towards Cyrus, and it fell to the floor at his feet. "Sir, we've found him. That's the necromancer," exclaimed Boris to his captain. She turned to him, exasperated. "Shut up, you fool," she hissed. "If it weren't for you, he wouldn't have gotten a hostage. If I hadn't been breaking you up from a common bar brawl." "But I didn't start it," he protested. "Shut up, all of you," screamed Cyrus. "I want to get out of here, and if any of you so much as look at me the wrong way, I will slit her throat. You don't want this poor innocent girl's blood on your hands, do you?" A hush fell on the crowd as they all took in the anger in Cyrus's eyes. The knife in his hand, Dervil held there motionless and terrified. The captain spoke. "All right, you win," she said calmly. "Just don't hurt the girl, do you understand?" "You have yourself a deal, ma'am," Cyrus smirked and began walking backwards to the door, holding Dervil tightly in his arms, his eyes still locked on Elvin. The captain called out commands to the wardens at the door. Cyrus waved the knife menacingly as he neared the door, then reached behind to open it and slinked out, pulling Dervil as he went. The door closed with a slam. Elvin untensed as a crushing feeling overcame him briefly. His head drooped down, touching the counter as he gripped the hard wood with both hands. "Lieutenant," called the captain from behind, "are you all right?" Alvin sighed and lifted his head. He turned and looked at her. "Yes," he said, "I am fine." "Alvin," the captain touched his shoulder, "I need you to tell me how you figured him out." Alvin grimaced. "I saw his eyes turn dark just before you all arrived. I thought I was seeing things. I thought I was just tired." "Oh?" "Yes, but I was a fool. It was careless." He sighed again. "Anyway," he straightened up and saluted. "What is the plan now?" The captain stood back as she said with a look of determination, "We're going to pursue him. We won't rest until that necromancer is captured or dead." "Good." Alvin extended his hand and his sword leapt from the floor. He caught it. "I'm taking you up on your offer, Captain. It would be foolishness to trust a worshipper of Emu. The young woman, Derville, is not safe. We have to hurry." The captain nodded. She signaled to Boris and barked out orders to relay the news and her commands to the rest of the wardens waiting outside and to spread out through the forest with them. "You and me, together. Let's go," she said, turning back to Alvin. He saluted again, and the two made to leave. Just then a hand fell on Alvin's shoulder. He turned. It was Ducky. "Wait!"
Tales of Mithrym are written by Jimmy Clephane. Mithrym is a fantasy world built for the Dungeon Room role-playing game system. To find out more about the world of Mithrym, or to try out the game, go to www.mithrym.com.